Hey. Good evening and welcome to the July 26, 2021 Board of Selectmen meeting. We just come out of a paperwork review and we'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. All right. All right. Put my glasses on so I don't misread stuff. All right. Do we have any requests for any additional items tonight?
It's too hot.
It's too hot. Okay. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45. So we have a review and approval of consent items, an AP manifest for July 20th of $48,702.35 and July 27th of $99,380.59. We have a payroll manifest for July 22nd of $65,135.64 and July 29th of $56,176.95. We have a tax abatement, map 20 lot 17 of $4,500. We have a New Hampshire DRA PA 28 assessing form. Troy, I'll let you explain that later. We have a purchase order for an M-21-23 plow truck lease payment, number 4 of $28,564.06.
So the PA form is an annual form. The DRA asks the selectmen if you're going to use it. It's an older method of trying to pick up assessed value where you actually send a notice directly to homeowners asking them to self-report any additions or subtractions in their property values. But where we use our assessing firm, they do that work. Not many communities use the 28 form, but it's still used in some of the real smaller communities. In the plow truck lease payment, number 4, this is the Freightliner, the big truck that we bought a couple of years ago. So after this payment, we have one more payment left, payment number 5, and that Freightliner will be paid for.
Nice. Very nice.
What year is it?
I think it was a 2019.
Oh, it's 2019.
It's,
And we're all about
it's the big one that we bought. So we bought, the big Freightliner, your traditional plow truck, and then the next year we bought the one that's like up in the parking lot. We bought that cash, and that one that's sitting there today we bought cash. So we've really caught up, done a good job on our plow fleet.
I hope it snows.
We're going to remove Mr. Lynch from this meeting.
I wonder how many miles we put a year on
Less than
5,000.
probably 5 to 8, but
The most.
right around 5.
Not much.
Business this week. We have the July 12th minutes for the July 12th meeting. Does anybody have any changes or anything they want to add or delete? No? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
A second.
A motion by Mr. LaSalle, second by Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-0. See, I did that math quick. 4 people said yes. We only have 4. Can't be any nays. All right, we have Judy Brennan. And it looks like Jeff Town also, alternate members for Recreation Department. Steve Gannon, Chairman of the Rec Commission, is requesting that Judy Brennan and Jeff Town be appointed to serve as alternate Recreation Commission members, both terms to expire March 31st, 2024. Are we here? Are they here? Nope, they're not here.
No.
No. Okay. So what do you know about this, Mr. Brown?
Well, they both have met with the Rec Commission,
Okay.
The full commission. And so that's where their interview took place, and you have their recommendation before you this evening.
Okay,
I move to appoint Judy Brennan and Jeff Town as alternate members of the Rec Commission.
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's and a second by Ms. Queen. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 400. Now we got a bunch for zoning board. Very nice. Want to do them all together or one at a time?
We have 2 regulars and 1 alternate.
Yeah. So,
right.
Just to let you know, Mr. Brunel is here. Mr. Brunel obviously was aware that our zoning board of adjustment was in need of some experienced leadership. Mr. Brunel previously served on the zoning board. So he has stepped forward and volunteered to ask to be appointed as a regular member, which I think will allow at least a regular member to hit the ground running, having some prior experience. So that will be very beneficial for the zoning board of adjustment. The other members that I think we could probably address Mr. Brunel by himself, and then we
Okay,
can talk about the other members.
okay.
Wait, pen.
Hmm?
Wait, pen.
Give it back. All right, so we have a motion to appoint Mr. Brunel.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's and a second by Mr. Lynch. Any further discussion? I'd just like to say, John, if you ever want to serve on any other committees, you do everything else in the town. But thank you. It's very, very nice of you. You've got your hands full as it
Appreciate it.
is.
Much
So-
needed.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes 400. Welcome, Mr. Brunel. You know the drill about swearing in? Okay. Now we have a Mr. Kevin Cormier, regular voting
Hold
member.
So, go ahead.
Do you have a document that has all the members of all the boards?
Of all the boards, I do have a spreadsheet, yes.
Could you forward that?
Sure.
Right below all these motions to appoint, Rich, there's, it tells you who's on the zoning board, the regular members and
Oh, there are?
the alternates. Yeah, right below all these motions.
Oh, okay, I
Scroll
see
down a
that,
little bit.
yeah.
So it looks like they have 4 now with Mr. Brunel. And with Mr. Cormier, it would be 5, and then we have 2 alternates. Oh.
Mr. Cooney and DeRusso or Durst,
Yeah, they're currently alternate members. They're not interested in moving up to become full members. And typically that's the normal process, but they've asked not to be considered to be moved up.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you Mr. Cormier? No? Okay. He's not here.
No, I think this is members of the residents that attended the last ZBA meeting that
Oh, okay.
didn't happen. So
All right. We'll try and get some members here. So what do we know?
okay, so I just wanted to give you a background on the other 4 appointments. So I think everyone's aware that the zoning board of adjustment has had some resignations and had some non-participation from members, and it's caused some problems with the zoning board's ability to conduct meetings and have a quorum.
Yep.
Obviously, an impact on homeowners and businesses that are trying to get their special exceptions or variances considered. So currently, right now, there is no chairperson for the board. Laura Gandy is the vice chairman, and she's been doing a great job trying to navigate through the last few months. So she has tried to, work with the membership that's left and getting them engaged and reviewing the resumes we received, and really not much input. So Laura has submitted to me a prioritized listing of the appointments that you have here this evening.
Okay.
And that's, based on her review of the applicants. So this will get us up and running. The next step is going to be reaching out to NHMA, and they can provide specialized training specifically for our zoning board of adjustment, because you're going to have, members that have no previous experience. But we also believe that by having Mr. Brunel and Mr. Cormier, having the alternates available to come up, that we should be able to continue to have meetings and we should have a quorum. It's not so much having a quorum. You know, what we heard from Barron's warehouse proposal is that a lot of times when these people are coming forward and asking for variances, they really, when there's only 3 voting members, they prefer actually not to take the risk and proceed with that meeting. They have better odds at having full membership of 5. So even if we have a quorum, sometimes if our membership's only 3, it's not beneficial to the applicant. It's risky.
Yep.
And once you're denied, I forget the process, probably Kevin knows it, but I'm not sure if you can come back again and appeal. So
You got 30 days to appeal the decision.
and if that appeal fails,
Then you got nothing.
No
Then you have court.
so it's so anyhow, that's kind of a different process here this evening. I've got a list of new names, but they've all expressed interest. Laura has gone through their applications and
She has.
submits their
That's very good because Laura is very up on zoning and planning.
Yeah.
That's what she does. Okay. And she's very good and she knows how to keep things going. Plus she's a lawyer.
No, the recommendation is good enough for me.
Yep. Laura's been
Mr.
good.
Chairman, I would like to see us, as a matter of course, we continue to hear about poor attendance and so forth. And I would like to see us, as a matter of course, have a copy of the minutes of each of the reporting committees and who is attending and who was absent. And I think as selectmen that, we continue to hear these things, and, we, both from a positive standpoint and a negative standpoint, it behooves us to know who's participating and who isn't. We've seen in the past where people, for whatever reason, like to see their name on the town report or whatever, but never show up for meetings. And that does nobody any good. And I think as selectmen, we have a responsibility to keep track of all of these boards and commissions and committees and to see who's participating and who isn't. So I'd like to make a motion that we, just as a routine thing, in the past, we've seen where committees weren't keeping proper minutes, and we need to see that. We need to see that they're doing it, not to micromanage or anything like that, just to make sure that it's happening and who's participating and who isn't. So I don't know whether I need to make that a motion, or is that something
We can just request the meeting minutes, right? Be
Yeah.
emailed out to all of
Yeah,
us.
we
so-
can have
is that all right?
meeting minutes, forwarded to myself and I can forward them on to you.
Yeah, that's the best way.
But I think your idea is
And
spot
let
on.
me try to figure out a way how I can see if we can record attendance.
Yeah.
Going, we can do a 6-month look back and then see if there's a way that we can keep it going forward.
Yeah, because if people aren't showing up, they shouldn't be regular voting
Yeah.
members. We got people sitting here tonight that got thrown off and it's costing them money. It's not
absolutely.
right. It's just not right.
And if we have any responsibility at all, we need to nip that in the bud. And going forward, we need to make sure that people are coming in here with the right attitude,
Okay.
If they're on a committee, they have a responsibility. And
Zoning's what, once a month?
Yes.
So that's not bad. I mean,
No, it's like conservation once a month.
I think that's a great idea.
we've seen that in other committees also, and I'm not gonna,
Don't go there.
we're not gonna talk about them, but we really, if somebody's on a committee, they could have an excuse or whatever, but
Yeah.
if they're missing half the meetings, that's not good.
Yep.
It's not fair to the alternates either.
Correct. Okay. So do we want to do these because we have another regular? Do we want to do that separate from the alternates?
Yeah, you can do these
I think.
all as one motion, or you
Okay.
could
Let's do it all one motion.
Yeah, do it all as one.
We have to give John his own special one, but we can do the others together. So we'll make a motion to approve the appointments as recommended by Vice Chair Gandia.
Mhm. And rec commission.
Mhm.
We should do both, the rec commission and also that, because you got two rec committee.
No, you're right.
We're on zoning
Yeah,
now.
I'm
We already
sorry,
did
you're right.
rec.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So we'll entertain a motion for the zoning.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
That we approve what Laura has presented to us as alternate and full-time.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Lynch and a second by Ms. Greenham. Any further discussion? Yes, Mr. Lascelles. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Everyone needs to go get sworn in.
Or at.
Make sure tonight that you
That we sign those?
all
Okay,
those
yeah,
forms. so
okay.
we can
I
get it.
signed them, could give them to him. We'll make sure we don't.
So that gives us 5 regular members, and now it'll be 5 alternate members, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And like I said, Laura and I have discussed reaching out to NHMA, and they can actually do a strategic planning, a training session
That's great.
for our zoning board of adjustment.
That's great. Okay. Well, it's 6:45. We should open it up to public input. Any members of the public like to speak? If you do, please come forward.
Go first.
Come on forward. Give us your name, your address, and
Andy McClavey, 20 Birch Street, Litchfield. I'm here because just like you guys just mentioned, had a zoning meeting last week. I have spent, Troy knows, I've spent basically since February trying to replace a failed septic at my property and then put a addition onto my property for an in-law. And I have been basically kicked in the teeth since day one. I've requested help. Now I do understand that we've had an interim building inspector because Peter passed away, and we've requested help from him numerous times, and we've basically requested meetings to him, and we get meetings and we show up, and it's, I don't want to help you. There's not much I can do for you. You didn't submit anything. Well, I have email records, mailed records, everything from, and we get little to no response. If we get a response or an email, it's 3-4 words tops. So at the time, we didn't know that Troy was the zoning administrator. So once we found that out, thankfully, Troy has helped move forward, but that has since been months, and I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on wetland scientist surveys and, project proposals, and then architectural plans, and then septic design plans, because I require a special exemption for wetland setback. Went to the conservation committee now almost a month ago, and they voted no problem with just their only stipulation was please don't put fertilizer on the backyard, which I never have anyway. So that was a no big deal. So then we come last week and the board doesn't even show up. And what aggravates me a little bit more is that Barron's was on it. That is a hot topic thing in the town, and nobody had I don't want to say guts, but 2 people showed up and that's it. I've been on the fire department over 10 years. I've given countless nights, weekends, holidays for this town. I remember eating the Thanksgiving storm. I remember eating a turkey dinner, driving to a wires down call, and then sitting there for 4 hours eating turkey dinner on the doghouse of the fire truck. And I just feel like I've been smacked in the face by the town. And now I'm told, okay, you got to wait till August 19th. And then, oh yeah, there's another 30 days, which I can't find that rule. I can't do anything for another 30 days. So now I'm looking October before I can do anything on my property. Is a smack in the face. And I hear you can do 5 days. Well, it's been a week now, and I have heard crickets out of this town. And I am just beyond frustrated that there's nothing I can do. I can't do anything. I can't replace a failed septic that is within no issues. The conservation goes, that's fine. You've made it the best it can be. I'm moving it further away from the wetlands than my current septic is. And the addition is further in from where my house currently is to this wetland. So there's no other option. And I'm within everybody said. I've spent thousands on wetland scientist survey. And if you know anything about wetland scientists, basically out of 0 to everything. And I'm at a loss that now I got to wait until the end of August to do anything with this. And I'm looking for some help.
So I can just give you an update that when we learned about the lack of a quorum, I know you reached out to me and the board,
Mhm.
and I responded saying, I will
Mhm.
do whatever I can to try to help coordinate this because it required coordination with the zoning board of adjustment, that we learned that there's an issue with the planning board that needs to weigh in on this matter as well. And, they
And I
have
just
not done
learned that I'm
yet.
on a meeting for tomorrow night and I get no notification of that.
So there's a special meeting that was scheduled pretty much over the weekend. I mean, literally, it was posted Friday, but I had a conversation with the chairman of the planning board Thursday night and again Saturday. We worked this afternoon on getting legal notices in the paper for your variance
Okay.
or special exception. And we're going to get certified mail out tomorrow for the abutter notices.
Mhm.
And that's the same for you, Mr. Wood. So we've not had a chance. I know the chairman of the ZBA was going to
Mhm.
reach out to you and let both of you know.
Yeah, and
But
I will say she was very good and she knew I was frustrated.
all of this has happened
So.
very quickly. And of course, we wanted to make sure that we also had the membership
Yeah.
issue addressed. So I apologize. There's nothing I could have done for that meeting, but I have in the Board of Selectmen and ZBA chair, we've done everything we can to try to get you scheduled for August the 2nd.
Okay.
Which is Monday night.
Yep.
And if everything goes as we've got it planned right now, you should be on the.
Yeah, and like I said, I just happened to see that there was the planning board and I plan to attend that. So if they have any questions. So I do appreciate the help trying to move it forward. And I do appreciate that we now have people coming to this. And like I said, I've given years to this town and everything too. And she keeps telling me I need to run for selectman, but I don't know. But cool. I do appreciate you guys taking the interest in it and realizing that that's a big problem because it has been thousands. And then with the lumber prices and everything like that, I just feel like I've been kicked down the road month after month after month after month. And I'm appreciative that you guys have worked quickly to try to get me on it for them. So
Troy, what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen in the future?
Well, I think what you had suggested this evening is a good place to start, just to really keep a pulse on our participation.
This is
But
terrible.
Two, the one thing, so we don't have a chair right now for ZBA, so in hindsight,
I know where
every
we can
chair
find
should
one.
always be, communicating with their membership to make sure we're going to have a quorum. And I don't know if, I think that email went out, but nobody responded. So it's tough, when people aren't responding to their emails or letting the chair know that I'm not going to be able to attend the meeting. That's the responsibility of the committee member, the volunteer, is to reach out to the chair, let them know I have a personal conflict, I need to be excused. And on the most part, our volunteers do that. This was a bad, zoning board of adjustment has been struggling, I think, with participation in the last 6 months. So it's really come to a couple,
Well, Laura's
serious-
very capable and what you expect certain things from the town and when it doesn't happen, it's terrible to me. And somebody that volunteers and bends over backwards to do what's necessary. And like he says, it gets kicked in the teeth. We've got to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. That's all there is to it. And whatever it takes to get these boards and committees and to report to us so we can keep a handle on it,
And I'm hopeful too, when our new building inspector starts work, that part of that job is to be administrative support to the chair and the zoning board of adjustment. One of the things that I put in the job description is it's mandatory to attend all those meetings. And I really want that person to kind of be that person that's really checking in and making sure everything's moving along as it's supposed to. Because, I know it's the chair and the vice chair's responsibility, but there are certain boards and committees that require staff support too. And the zoning board does.
From a
right
resident
now,
perspective, I think that's a good idea because if somebody has questions, that person can step in and go, well, that doesn't really meet code to do it that way or whatever. I think having that person there that night could help answer questions too, because it's much about getting a variance or special exemption as it is informing, because I didn't know what I was doing with any of this stuff, and that's what I was looking for is advice. And by that person would be able to help with advice by doing that stuff too. So I think that's a great idea
Yeah.
from a resident's perspective on that. So
No, it's,
Being in the trades, being a building inspector for a few years, okay, I've always attended the ZBA meetings, no matter which town I was in. I even had to go to some of the planning board meetings if they're related to something that I have to enforce the regulation on, whether it's a zoning or a subdivision one. Health-wise, our health regulations, okay, which is septic, has a 100% setback. That's just a waiver request.
Mhm.
That's all it is. And if you meet the DES requirements, and did you get subsurface approval for that yet?
yeah, I like all I have all
You
the
got all the approvals,
oh
okay?
yeah, all the septic yeah, everybody signed it. DES signed it, then the
This is
wetlands
something that-
scientists and
This is what happens here. What happened here, it should never happen. Okay, there's been some changes of people.
Mhm.
Okay, me, it's well, and the other ones coming in. And this is what created this problem. The chair and I used to talk all the time.
Mhm.
When there was a case, I informed him that we had a case coming because I have to write the denial or
Mhm.
whatever is the subject and where it has to go. Because I'm the guy that's enforce the rules.
Mhm.
I agree with Rich. This should never happen. Okay, and that night when I watched the meeting, and I saw what happened. I got a hold of Laura that night and I says, "Get a hold of Troy in the morning, okay, and let's go to the next step and see what you can do."
yeah, because you responded to me very very quickly because I sent that email that night and you were I do appreciate you guys responding to me as quickly as you did.
Appreciate it.
Because it was just very upsetting that okay, now you're kicked out another almost 60 days. So that's why I'm appreciative that we're on next week.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a selectman on the ZBA?
there's
law
there's no law that permits it.
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have one for everything else.
I think it's actually done that intentionally because
You bring them
the zoning board of adjustment is sort of like a legal semi-court action. You don't want the selectmen to be involved. in it.
Because we could be in
you
the
could be
loop.
involved. You very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't do it that way, Rich, because selectmen have said it for years. I like to be on it, but when it comes to enforcing whether you agree with the ZBA's decision, the selectmen have to enforce the law of the town.
I think there's certain situations where
Mhm.
very few, but it's possible that some appeals can actually come to
On
the
the
board of
top.
selectmen.
Yes, they can.
Not many, but there's a couple. So in other words, if you're not happy with what the ZBA ruled on, I think there's some situations that you can appeal to the.
Mhm.
To the
What if we had a non-voting observer? Is that possible?
Well, you
As-
could, yeah,
As
I
a
don't,
selectman?
you know.
I mean, they're public meetings, right?
Right. I think it's just an unfortunate time. The zoning board has always been strong in this town. We just got caught with a chair that resigned. We got caught with an interim building inspector. We got caught with members that have not been participating, and it's just the perfect storm. And it hit last week.
Well, the advantage of this happening now is that we expedited the date. Okay.
And I'm very appreciative.
Okay,
very
and
appreciative of
that was something that I told Laura too, is expedite this out. And Troy, thank you for getting it all out for him, okay?
Yes, I appreciate not having to wait another 2 more weeks after that. So I am thankful of that and I appreciate your time.
If there's anything else we can do to try and expedite this, I would suggest that we try to do it because this is just not right. We don't treat citizens like this.
Maybe in addition to you being a fireman, your experience here is a contributor to us improving the situation.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Can I make a comment?
You're at it.
Yep. Hi.
Oh, I think he was talking.
That's all right. He's
I
talking.
don't want to backtrack on it, but they are voluntary positions. These people volunteer. When I first went for the planning board, they never said, can you make every meeting? I don't know if they could legally, but maybe in the application it could be, can you attend most of the meetings? I don't know legally if you can check that with the attorney.
Well, you noticed on Jason Brennan, remember when Jason Brennan was for the conservation. I asked him, I said, you travel a lot. Can you make the meetings? And what did he say? He said, I don't travel anymore.
So I was asked verbally, but there was nothing like,
No, that's-
writing. So I don't know if,
But you couldn't hold it to him.
no,
hold
that's
him
what I'm
to
saying. It was loose, but,
If they
Just to
miss so
understand
many
they are
meetings, they can
volunteers,
be
but-
removed.
but we still have to do the town business. If you
You know,
volunteer, we have to do that.
Yes.
It all, it's every board and committee, if they have guidelines, bylaws, then usually there's a provision in there to be excused for personal reasons.
That's why.
It's the unexcused
Uh,
absences
And
that,
yeah, that's why the alternates are there to cover for those who couldn't have because of a family emergency or they went on a vacation.
Yep.
Okay, that's all. The alternates come in and help.
Well, maybe we need to, for the permanent member to find his own replacement. I've seen that done. If you're going to be gone and you're the permanent member, you better get on the phone to the alternates and say, can you sit in for me? You know?
Just a schedule of some sort, you know, that's posted a month in advance.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's typically the way to eliminate any miscommunication is always to communicate directly to the chair. And
Yeah.
if you know you're not going to be able to attend, you need to let the chair know.
Correct.
Well, I think this board in the past, we've always sent out an email asking if somebody could cover. I mean, I went to
Yep.
planning board for you.
Yep.
I know Brent went to budget for me and so on and so on. I mean, all you have to do is ask the other members of your group. Send out a general email. Somebody will volunteer, say, yeah, I'll be there.
Unless you get COVID, they don't want you.
But I mean,
That has
this,
to be.
we have to do better. We have to do better.
Okay. Well, I think what's better now is that
If
it's
it was up to me, I'd sign your papers right now and say, go. You've waited long enough,
but you can't.
but I can't.
Much as I like to say that, the other thing too that's very important is lack. And I'm going to say it's not Troy's problem, but it created a problem for Troy because he was the zoning guy, and that created a problem. That's why we did what we did, was bring things back together. So you had people talking. Okay, that's what's important. A good inspector can solve this very quickly, and with Troy's planning background as well, helps out. Okay, the new guy. That's one thing I said to him when we interviewed him. I said, "You're going to learn this. It's not hard. You got to read the rules and go there. If you need any questions, any help, Troy, or and even myself, I'll answer any questions."
As a last resort.
Yeah. All right. Would you like
Okay,
to,
so did we vote?
Yes.
come on up. Come on up.
Good evening.
Hey,
My name's Ben Wood. I live at 19 CEH here in town. I also own a construction company in town, PTW Construction.
yes,
Um,
you have nice stuff.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say, it's very refreshing to walk in here and before we even got the chance to talk, that you guys are already discussing some of the frustrations that we had from last week's meeting. You guys seem like you're on top of it. And I appreciate that, you know, and everything that you guys are doing. Also here to express the frustration of the zoning board meeting last week that didn't happen. You know, I've got some customers at a project at 18 Greenwich in town. We're applying for a simple variance for, you know, a side setback on a garage addition project. And, you know, we're also kind of getting up against the wall. We've still got, you know, other planning stuff with the project to line up, excavation stuff to line up, subcontractors, you know, materials to get scheduled, and, you know, being pushed back even further is really going to dampen our schedule, and we're going to accrue, you know, more expenses. Again, just kind of reiterating points that you guys are already aware of, but, you know, wanted to come to bat for my customers on this. And I heard you guys talking about a meeting that was pushed forward. I also haven't heard anything back. So was there a special meeting that was put in place for the,
August something.
So the planning board, what is your case? Is it a pool setback?
Nope,
Is it
it's,
a special
it's a-
exception?
it's a variance for, it's a side setback. We need to encroach on the 20-foot side setback for a garage addition. They have kind of a unique lot.
Your last name's Mr. Wood?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So I'm pretty sure you're included in this August 2nd meeting,
Okay.
special meeting for your variance. So
Who's your client?
you will,
Corey Gannon and Anne Marie Resco.
Okay,
At
they
18
were on the
Greenwich?
list. That's
Yep.
why. Okay.
Yeah.
August
But
2nd.
anyhow, you will receive notice, or your clients will receive notice. I know the chairman said she was going to reach out
Yeah.
to them
Will that be
via
at 7
email, but
o'clock?
there will be the official certified mail that will be sent.
Gotcha. And that meeting will be August 2nd at 7, just like the last
7 p.m. here.
7 p.m. Awesome.
That's what I think it might be on our website here.
Is that a Tuesday?
Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday?
It should be
No, it should be Monday.
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah.
good. We don't want to use the room.
Yeah. And also, I'd had an interest in it a while back, and I didn't realize the downfall and the lack of, I guess, support until I was here last Monday, and had reached out, getting a little bit more information on it. I don't know if there's necessarily a conflict of interest, but I make commitments to things and I stick with it. I like to be a part of the town. I do some volunteer stuff in town anonymously, just because I want to. And if there is an opportunity to work my way into the zoning board, or maybe another board that might need some help and guidance, I feel like I can offer a lot of input and knowledge, and be a good member of one of those boards, and particularly the zoning board. And if there's an opportunity to pursue that, I was looking for a little guidance on that as well. Or if there's a conflict of interest, you could tell me to hit the road.
There's no conflict of interest. If it's a job that you're doing or bidding on, then it's a conflict. You got to step down.
Just that job.
Just that job.
Right.
But if you want to be on the board like everybody else in town, you can. But you have to go to. My recommendation is show up at the meeting and tell them you're interested to be part of it, and put your name in and see if and they'll put you as an alternate or something. You're only allowed so many at a time.
Right.
Okay. And same thing with planning. You can do the same thing there too.
Awesome.
Much of the good stuff that happens in Litchfield is because of people who don't want to get any credit for it, but just get it done, I can remember many times over the last 30 years when I would have loved to had somebody like you on the phone, like at Dara Pond and,
God.
so believe me, if you want to contribute in that way, there's always opportunities.
Absolutely. I like the town. I like it kind of as it is to a point, right? And, obviously things change and towns
Yep.
grow and develop and everything. And, I plan on being here for a long time. I've got kids in town, and, I have the energy and the knowledge to help out, and I'd just like to. So appreciate your time tonight. Again, really refreshing to hear you guys already kind of hitting those points, nail on the head with that. That's
business guy.
that's very, yeah, no, that's it's very refreshing. I appreciate your guys' time very much. And don't be surprised if you see me pop into a couple more of these meetings, just to listen.
Learning.
What's that?
For learning too.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone's welcome. Just sit here and watch the meetings and learn. And you see it, you feel better about it, join them.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Is it disrespectful to step out after this? I've got my son's over at flag football. I'd like to catch the end of it.
Go right ahead.
Awesome.
I want to thank you guys all.
Thank
for
you guys
coming
very
in.
much. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Appreciate your time.
Yep. We're sorry for your troubles.
Nope. All right.
We'll try to fix it.
It happens. You guys are on it. Thank you.
Now we have a responsibility to live up to the expectation.
What? That's why we're here, right?
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
All right. So anybody else for public input? Russ, you got anything to say?
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Maybe at the planning board meeting tomorrow, I'll ask Michael Frodo, the chairman, maybe to, sometimes we come in there and it's an exercise to people, but there's thousands of dollars on the other side of the table. I think if they realize that, some of the alternates might take it more seriously.
Yep. That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If there's anything that government can do, we don't want to waste people's money,
Mhm.
I mean, there's absolutely no reason, there's no advantage for him to lose money based on some administrative issue, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now granted, sometimes
Well, I
it's,
do think that he didn't, I don't think he mentioned that he was scheduled at the prior zoning board of adjustment meeting because we were in that COVID, remote
Oh,
meeting.
yeah.
I think it was him who he couldn't log on.
Yeah.
So it's just, the story just continues.
There's another side to it. There's
So,
added
they had a
cost.
quorum that night, so I don't know. I mean,
And there's
tough.
added cost, just
Yeah.
because they don't have the meeting, that means who's gonna pay for the remailing? Well, not the applicant, if they can't grow up. That's
no,
my
we're
thing.
paying for it. Yeah.
Okay? I'm glad you said that.
money down the drain and doesn't serve any purpose.
That's good. I tell you, in my professional career, I've only seen that happen about 5 times. Okay, but the zoning board did not, or planning board did not have anything like that.
Mhm.
Everybody has always been active.
With that, we'll close public input. Next, we have the impact fees for the schools. Mr. Brown,
My day.
you have the,
So this board has received written correspondence from the library and the school department requesting the use of impact fees. The library had asked to use impact fees to construct a pavilion out on their lawn area, and their thought process is that that would provide some additional learning space, user space for the patrons of the library. About the same time, we received correspondence from the school department where they were undertaking several capital improvement projects, primarily with their middle school and their high school, with the heating and ventilation systems. So I brought this to the board's attention and said, in the past, I've reached out to Bruce Mayberry. Bruce Mayberry is a consultant who worked with the planning board in the town in developing the methodology that was used in calculating and determining the impact fees and how they could be, what would be the appropriate use for those. These two requests were a little, I wasn't really sure if they were appropriate uses or not. So I reached out to Bruce for him to review our plan, the stuff that he put together. And he kind of surprised me because I really thought that he was going to say, yes, the library would be an appropriate use because you're going to be increasing some square footage. But the school would not be an appropriate use because this is, really kind of maintenance of the heating and ventilation system. He came back totally opposite, that the library would not be an appropriate use. The fee system was based on the construction of permanent, square footage to be added to the library, not seasonal pavilion type facility. And the school department was what he referred to as that the whole fees were really based on a premise that the town fees that were being charged for school was in fact more of a recoupment tax, because the town had already made significant improvements in their school system to accommodate for future growth. And that was the basis of the fee that we charge for schools. So as long as the work that the school department was doing met the definition of the town's capital improvement definition, which was 5 years or greater, then he said that, absolutely, you can use these impact fees to do capital improvements, and making these types of improvements to your heating and ventilation is an eligible use. So I just had a conversation with the business manager and the school superintendent today. They are in the midst, as you probably are aware, of doing significant improvements down there at the middle school, and they're gearing up towards the high school. We're talking like millions of dollars that they're using different sources of money, and this would be these funds that they're requesting would help complement these projects. So they have asked if they could use the balance that we currently have on our impact fees for education, $188,118 for the high school, and $279,800 for the middle school.
You got that backwards. $188,000 for the middle school.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had
Okay,
the
and
numbers backwards.
it's okay.
You're right. Good catch.
I can read.
Okay. And there's nothing for Griffin. That
Nope.
goes to figure, yeah. There's
The li-
things there want Griffin to go into the ground to build a new school, but
That's another question they're gonna.
that's for another day.
There was some comments. So there was two things in the letter that was brought up by Mr. Mayberry, and he did, which I haven't had really time. I have a meeting with a conference call with Mr. Mayberry tomorrow afternoon because I wanted to do some follow-up conversation and talk to him about the fact that we've just adopted a new CIP plan and, you know, what type of maintenance do we need to do on our impact fees, if any. But one of the things that he raised concern was with the library impact fees that, you know, we're out 6 years now, and we probably want to go back and take a look at whatever fees we're holding because they may be eligible to be reimbursed to the original payers.
Mhm.
So.
So this is not considered maintenance, right? It's considered a complete
It's-
capital improvement. They're
This,
replacing.
yeah, this is not like maintenance, like you're replacing you know, a condensing unit because it broke, you know, it failed. This is actual planned improvements, physical capital improvements to the heating and ventilation system. It's not maintenance where you're going in and replacing something because it's broke.
You're upgrading it.
It's removing it and putting in with new technology, new capital
It's all called upgrades.
upgrade.
Is there COVID money available? Like if we gave. them
Well,
the
they're
money now
using-
And then they reimburse it if they get a grant for
They're
that.
they're using in his letter they're using several pots of money, and I don't want to say it's COVID, but they are using several pots of money that's not taxpayer money.
Can they clarify? Aren't there a lot of grants for HVA systems with COVID?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how
Don't
you
know what-
justify
yeah,
it,
it's
but
big.
yes.
Mhm.
But I think they're tapping into that, you know.
And they don't want to do anything with the GMS. They just want to leave that alone. Just keep the existing system going. It tells me we're on a plan here for something else.
Well, yeah.
Well, so in the letter, that's another reason for a follow-up conversation with Mr. Bayberry. He had some questions about GMS, and so I wanted to do some follow-up on that too.
Thank
So
you.
that's why you only see LMS and CHS.
Thank you. Follow up on that, please, because
Okay.
that's a big question.
Yeah.
That's a huge question.
But what about if he's going to be explicit about the COVID grants for HVAC? Because he's saying he's dipping into a lot of pot. I'm not saying not to approve it, but if he's not going after HVAC and he does later and gets money, can he put the money back?
No, you would typically, most competitive grant applications, you're looking, you know, COVID's a different animal, but you're using these funds actually as a leverage to get additional funds. They use them for matching. So if he were to discover some additional funding out there, potential grant, it increases your competitiveness of your application by having local funds available to match those federal or state funds.
But he's particularly asking for this money for HVAC
The project, you know,
in his letter.
Letter
That
is-
that
is- I
second
mean,
letter.
over 3 million. What is he?
I'm sure he has a lot of projects going on, but he's asking for this money to be particular for the HVAC system.
Yeah, both of those, all HVAC, this whole thing.
So if he can say, if he tried to get a grant for
So you can
COVID,
And you know, so if you read his last closing sentence, as a school district, we work to lessen the tax impact on the residents of Litchfield by utilizing the impact fees, CARES and URSA grant funding. CARES and URSA grant, that is COVID funding.
where is that sentence? Sorry.
The second to
last
last
one.
paragraph.
Yeah. So you're saying CARES,
And enhanced
ESSR
aid from the
is
state of New
COVID?
Hampshire, so. And then on the phone today, he was telling me that, these projects are well over $3 million.
So you're saying, just for my
So
clarification.
that CARES and
CARES-
URSA grant,
CARES
those,
is the
tho-
COVID.
that is COVID funding. Because we received CARES funding, over the last year and a half.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it as long as they spend the money on HVAC and not anything else, because one of the things that they always state at the budget meetings is they have a bottom line budget, they can spend the money the way they want. So maybe when we make our motion to give them the money, we put in there that
Yeah, it's
with
gotta-
it, with the condition that it is earmarked for the HVAC capital improvement at LMS and Kansas.
As stated in their letter to us.
I saw in the news today, this is an aside, I saw in the news today that some board somewhere used COVID money to vote themselves a bonus.
That would cause a revolution.
Campbell's 20 years old, 21 years old.
Yep.
What's the life of a,
Well, Griffin's been around since the 30s and they built it after the fire. So, I mean, you can get good life out of a school. I don't think Griffin's gone yet, but I mean, you can get good life with good maintenance.
You
that'll-
talking about the life expectancy of heating and cooling equipment,
You get
the building itself.
well, no, what they're trying to do here, they're replacing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're at the end of their life. I mean,
Really? After
Kevin, what
20
do you say?
years?
20 to 30 years.
They-
You get into new technology and energy efficiency. And
They had said at the budget meeting that some of the HVAC systems weren't even installed properly.
Yeah, and
They had issues with it and,
that troubles me. They've always had trouble balancing,
Well, it's not just, you can change the condensers, the motors go.
Yeah.
Okay, and the condensers all go, and the rooftops.
Yeah.
Okay, and 20 years is good. Okay. on
Really?
that. Yeah, it's good. Okay. If you get that, you're done good. Because they're running most of the time.
Mm.
The summertime it's running too. While they're in the building, they run the air. They got air in there too. Okay. And in the winter time, it's just strictly heat and it's on a flat roof. I'm not surprised to see those type of things fail. I am. As for the middle school, the old part and the new part, there's two parts of that school that were built. Okay. The old part, they haven't touched anything. And I've been on the roof there. And it's time for some of those.
Yeah, well, that's 30 years,
Yeah.
which sounds somewhat normal to me.
Right. But you get a building of the high school size, and you got the number of units up there. It's working longer because of the size of the building. They fail. If man can make it, it will fail.
Yeah. And to think of it, it seems like we've always had trouble with
HVAC.
at Campbell,
Yep.
and that really troubles me because with new construction, you shouldn't have an excuse. It should be designed and everything. That's a nice shirt, Robert.
Thank you. Historical Society.
Do they have big sizes for?
I don't know if they have pup tents.
Okay.
But they may. You could sew two together.
Oh,
So, all right.
what's going to happen after
So-
tonight?
All right. I'll make a motion here. I'm going to adjust this one a little bit. Okay. I'll recommend that we make a motion that we recommend the release of the school impact fees to LMS of $188,118 and Campbell High School at $279,800 to be used exclusively for the HVAC improvements as requested.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion?
I really wish it was tied to him saying whether he received a grant or not, but I think they're in an emergency situation as well. It's almost $368,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
And it is their money. I mean, I don't have a problem using, as long as they use it for what it's earmarked for. That's my only,
It's their
And that's
money.
what they're stating here for the two schools.
So it's their money. All right.
Yep.
It is their money.
so all those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye. All those opposed? Abstain. Motion passes 400.
for an expenditure like this, what sort of requirements are there for, as far as bidding and, I mean, if for new construction, you have a clerk of the works and all this sort of thing that's put in place, what sort of controls are there for, I mean, you're talking about a $1 million project here or multi-million-dollar project. What sort of controls are there?
Well, I can't speak for the school because I'm sure the school has their own purchasing policy. Our threshold is at $12,000. We would come to this board, and if we wanted to ask for a waiver from a competitive bidding process, we would have to come forward and request a waiver and cite the reasons why. So our threshold really is $12,000. It's competitive bidding, unless it's a state bid price. So, or it's already been competitively bid by the town in the last 12 months, or a neighboring similar community, so there's all those exceptions, but yeah, our cap is 12,000, and there's different levels underneath the 12 where we were supposed to go out and get 3 quotes for items like $5,000 up to $12,000.
So we
I'm
can
not sure
assume,
what the school is, but I'm sure they have a purchasing policy, and the school board will act on awarding contracts.
I don't know if they get the competitive bidding. I asked that at the budget last year, and I didn't really get an answer on it when all this came up for the HVAC improvements. So I don't know that they do, or if they have somebody.
Sometimes,
approves.
when you're doing these types of projects, it's not uncommon that you're working with a mechanical engineering firm that's designing it for you, and they have a short list of contractors that they're very comfortable with and have built a good relationship with, and they'll ask those 3 contractors to put together proposals. I don't know what the school's doing here, but that's common practice.
I mean,
It's good every now and then to get bids.
there's so much money floating around right now, coming at us from all different directions.
Mm.
And it just, to me, it's almost asking for abuse, when there's so much money, and there truly is. And a lot of it's federal money and it filters through the state. And I mean, it's almost like,
Mhm.
it's free money.
Yep.
And
It's not
that's
free. Somebody has to pay for
well,
it.
somebody has to pay for it, but it's like you're almost inviting abuse to me,
Hmm.
and that's troubling.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree with that. So up next, the 2022 budget schedule. Mr. Brown.
All right. So I have put together a schedule, used kind of the same format that we've used in previous years, lining up some of our smaller departments to go first, leading up to at the end of our budget process, the bigger departments, the police and the fire, your larger expense lines. And it's going to be, I don't know what happened, but it just feels like it's all starting to happen really fast this year. I feel like we're actually kind of behind.
We haven't had July yet.
Yeah. So anyhow, and I don't know if budget committee is starting a little sooner this year or not, but everything just seems to be a really tight time frame. So we're going to be getting Karen has already sent out spreadsheets to certain boards, committees, and departments, asked them to start working. Officially, once this is adopted, I will give official notice tomorrow to everyone. But we will start reviewing proposed budgets August the 9th at our next meeting. So we'll start that process. And then we lay it out August the 23rd, September the 13th. And budget committee will be meeting and redoing a review of the town budget September 30th. So over the next month, 2 months, we'll be doing a lot of budget work.
What sort of guidance have you given the department heads?
So we didn't give, like, when I send this notice out, we talked about the last meeting. We've asked them to, we'll be asking them to do the zero-based budgeting again. I don't believe we put a percentage cap on them, but I think it's important coming off kind of the COVID, budget last year, that they have the ability to put together a budget that they feel they need, and let us see it. Let it go through the Board of Selectmen, and then of course it's going to go through another level with the Budget Committee. I think it's important to allow them the flexibility to put together what it is that they need. And as in past, when I've seen from all the department heads, they don't come in with their wish list. They come in with items that they've been putting off, that they've discovered they really need.
Well, hopefully we get Mr. Cutter's window fixed before this hits.
Speaking of Mr. Cutter, last year we invited him to sit in on meetings, and I think it really helped us because he had a good understanding of where the town was coming from. I think it really helped us immensely with the Budget Committee. I wouldn't have a problem with him if he wanted to come in, or if he wanted to bring his vice chair, Mr. Sun. I mean, just to see how the town does it, and I mean, he was very active and talking to us last year. I mean, and I think it was a good process. I mean, plus it promotes transparency.
Yeah, transparency and communication.
Yep.
One bigger thing is that I found is the previous boards before us, they didn't want to have communication. They had their own little things going on. I want to hear both sides. Okay, at least get a perspective.
We don't want to burn the poor guy out,
No.
This is true.
Yeah, but we'll mow his lawn.
Yeah, they do, so we can extend the invitation to the chair, and any other member that wants, they can physically come and
Hear
observe.
us.
And of course they have a lot of them do watch us
Yep.
live on our YouTube channel. So
Well, there could be somebody watching now.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was supposed to be a red light on the camera.
Yeah, it says 3 views.
That's a good-
3 viewers?
Yeah.
Well, you 6 viewers?
We got 6 viewers.
Nice.
6.
Maybe we could bring a 6-pack. Yeah.
And maybe if you brought it, they would be here having that. Never mind.
This looks like a good schedule, Troy.
What's that?
It looks like a good schedule.
It's
I mean,
I've
Very
tried.
similar to past.
I tried. What I do is I feel like I work close. The first group that goes, I work really close with these folks. So I know I can do a pretty good job because that's short notice, August the 9th.
Yep.
And then I put a lot of the boards and committees on the second meeting. So giving them notice tomorrow saying, hey, this is your date. Hopefully they'll be able to put together their budgets. It's hard. Summertime is, a lot of them are taking a break for, a month off. And I just always feel like police and fire, and those last budget items need more time. Some of those items like personnel administration, we pull that information together. We try to pull it together September the 13th, but again, we already went through this. We won't have health insurance. We won't have our property liability. There's just some of the bigger numbers. We
We won't
won't
get those.
Yeah.
I'm looking at code enforcement, and not that they've done it, but that's a simple budget.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I wanted to put it first, but where our new guy will start Monday. I wanted to have him have an opportunity to start working a little bit, because I would like to have him come in and present that budget, or at least be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
I will say I probably won't. That's the only vacation I'm taking.
The
That week.
23rd.
Yeah. That week. Besides, I'm retired.
Yeah, maybe you could even move him back. I mean, Could we maybe like slide advertising up
I-
and slide that, just to give him more time to
More
get his,
time to really,
get his
He's
feet
gonna
wet?
need more time to feed the feeling.
Yeah.
and I'm, you know, and I,
Oh, there's
this is a good way to give notice. And then of course you always do, you get a board or committee to reach out and say, hey, can we go? And I juggle people around.
Yep.
Well, yeah, there's another thing too. You got health department on the 13th. Well, he's health department.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's health agents. Oh, yeah, health
Yeah.
department too. Yeah.
No, the health department too.
Right. So he can do the building and that at the same time and give him more time.
Right.
I'm not just trying to help him.
I mean, we know insurance won't be
Not till
ready.
November.
Yeah.
We'll
So we
have
could
that.
even slide insurance into that spot on the 23rd and
Yeah.
move code enforcement down.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not going to matter. We won't have
It's
a
not.
number. But yeah, well, you
Play it around.
figure it out. Yeah.
I like what you got here.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
look at ideas.
Yep.
I think I've seen this before.
We'll figure it
last
out when
year.
we get here. You'll tell us what we're doing.
No. Well, the most important part right now is that just acknowledging that we're kind of already late in the game and
Mhm.
getting word out to them. But we're just very fortunate. All the department heads gone through this process. They know how to do it. They've been
It's not
thinking
the
about
first
it.
time.
It's the boards and committees that I get a little bit more nervous about because they're volunteers and they're, you know, it's hard for them.
Next,
So the,
swap table.
Budget committee and then all the way up to election day. Good. Let's see if Mr. Lynch is holding the sign on March 8th. Next on the agenda, we have the swap table hours.
Okay, another request from Mr. Mellon. He's asked that the permission to be able to shut the swap table down 15 minutes prior to closing.
Mhm.
And, you know, his reason is he just really wants to secure that area. He's having a few instances where people are just standing there and they're pushing it right till 4 o'clock and then they can't lock doors and they're trying to get them out. So he thought, you know, a good solution is let's just set the hours that we close the swap table down 15 minutes before closing. We get to get up there. We'll kind of, you know, string it off and move people along, which seems to make sense.
Could I maybe suggest that we close it 30 minutes to give him time, and that way they're not running around, because those are the times that the dump is getting ready to close.
I
You
think
know,
he was
so
probably
let's-
afraid of asking for 15 minutes. So I'm sure he was.
And let's try the 15. Let's try the 15 and see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, we'll come back. I know what Bobby's saying, but it depends on the weekends. Okay, I was up there this weekend.
It might take him 15 minutes to get people out of there, and then
Yeah.
he doesn't have a chance to. So, and then he's got to close down the whole facility. So,
But you got and that's the recycle buildings. You got people still going in and out of that
Yeah,
building.
but he was just talking about
We'll rope it off.
roping it off.
Yeah.
So going up there and roping it off.
Maybe we could install a big friggin' horn and just
That would be.
I think, you know,
pull the fire alarm or something.
there
don't do that.
there are certain people that want to come right at the end of the
last-
day and, you know, and rummage through the table. And this is the same time that Dave's trying to
Yep.
get
close
things
it up.
cleaned up and shut down. And so I actually do like Bob's suggestion, a half hour. I think Dave would really was afraid to ask for more than 15 minutes, but
Mhm.
it might be worth trying, you know, see what happens with 30 minutes. And if we get a lot of negative comments, then, you know, maybe we can take a look at it and move it back to 15.
We'll just post it. As long as it's posted, people will put a sign up there.
I was up there one time and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are people that come right at the end of the day
Well,
with
that's-
trailers
they're
and then
trying
they
to-
just take anything that's left, you know?
Flea marketers.
It's
Yes.
yeah.
And
Resellers, eBay, stuff like that.
Yep.
And so it's at the end of the day is a look, you know, it's not
It's
lucrative.
a lucrative
off the
business.
bench.
You're right.
It's not.
in a way, they're kind of doing
It's-
us a service.
They
Exactly,
are
exactly.
doing you a service because they're removing this item,
Yes.
which otherwise we would be paying a per tonnage fee to dispose of.
Yeah.
But I just think it's also at the same time, we're trying to wrap things up and get things secured and shut down. So I think if they learn that, yeah, we close down at 3:30, then they'll be there at 3:30, and then that gives plenty of time to coordinate the closing.
So I like 30 minutes.
I'll change my mind.
You'll change your mind. Okay.
15, to me, 15 or third, you're out of there. 15 minutes. You shut down. The only people you're gonna have is the ones that are stuck, still trying to get in and out. Okay, that's it. You always have that last guy that gets there 5 minutes before closing with a big truck trying to load. It's always like that.
Plus, if there's a line there at 30 minutes, still trying to get in there, it'll allow Dave to say, okay, you're the last car, and I don't know if they put a cone behind it, like they do at the bank, or, you're the last one in. It gives them a little flexibility.
Do we pay our workers if beyond 4 o'clock?
We do if they go over. They're part timers, so it doesn't usually doesn't trigger an overtime situation because they're all just part time employees. But for the most part, Dave, if you look at the timesheets, they're closing up right on time.
Okay.
Well, I would hope that the people know, that they can't press their luck,
Okay.
So
I
we need a motion.
I move to authorize the swap table to close 30 minutes early
I'll second
to
that.
allow staff time to secure the area.
So we have a motion by Mr. LaSalle and a second by Mrs. Queen.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Town administrator report.
how come it's so long?
Yeah. Well, it's all one topic.
A lot to do.
So I was able to participate in a webinar today for about 2 hours when it was an overview, New Hampshire Municipal Association, the state, Governor Shaheen's office, all worked together. And
Senator Shaheen,
yeah,
she used to be governor.
yeah. I mean, Senator Shaheen. And it was all the American Rescue Plan Act 2021.
Mhm.
And people refer to it as ARPA funds. So you're stuck
This
in
is
here.
already
this
all
is already-
approved and signed
just-
off.
It is. And so there's some general guidelines of, what we can use the funds for, but they also think that, at 6 months from now, we might get final guidance. And I kind of wonder if during that 6-month period that they're going to start getting some feedback and questions from, towns and cities, and they might, provide additional opportunities, expand, potential uses. But primarily what we're hearing is that we can use these funds for water, sewer, broadband infrastructure projects. That is definitely an eligible expense. So anything to do with trying to get safe drinking water, expand broadband services in our community, addressing any sewer concerns that we may have. We don't really have the sewer in this town, but they even mentioned the stormwater, improvements too. So those would be very specific to those types of uses. We also have a calculator. We've kind of looked at it, but we really need to go back and revisit where if we can document lost revenue, then whatever that number is, then we can use those funds with no strings attached. So the selectmen.
You give me
budget
an
committee-
example of that?
So just say if we could demonstrate that due to COVID, we lost $75,000 of revenue, and we can document it.
But what type of revenue?
We could use of revenues like building permit revenues, our bottom line revenues. One of the areas that I know we lost money in was the block grant,
Oh, yeah,
the rooms and meals.
because we approved money.
Because
from
remember, we
the-
reduced our highway paving money, because we were concerned. Nobody was driving, nobody was paying gas
fuel.
tax, and
Or eating.
So the bottom line, but this calculation is your bottom line revenues, all of your revenues. And if you could show that you lost revenues, then the board, through your vote, through the budgeting process, you could designate, to go off and do something. So, for example, if you wanted to go down and do some improvements to Talon Hall, you could. And you could say, due to these lost revenues, we had $50,000, and this board could use the ARPA funds to go down and do some work on Talon Hall. But I just really don't think that's going to be a large number. I don't think we're going to be able to determine a large number. Premium pay for essential workers is another thing. Public health issues. And there's also some economic areas where if partnering up with some of the nonprofit groups, actually going into some businesses, if there's some way that we can demonstrate that a business was hurt real bad by COVID and there's a way that the town can participate, then, there's a potential use there. It's still not clear, but at least there's some general direction. You could hear him saying water, sewer, broadband infrastructure was definitely, an area that you could go and spend funds on. The public health issues, the premium pay, and the calculation of lost revenue.
Now-
So we are going to receive over the next 2 years $904,623. We'll receive two payments. We actually just received our first payment today in the amount of $452,311.63. So we'll be putting that into an account. It'll be sitting there. It will only be spent with, selectmen approval. We will be having, one of the requirements is we will have to have a public hearing to officially accept the funds. And we already went ahead and applied because there's a deadline by August the 18th to apply for these funds. We already did that, and that's how we, received our first payment. But I did want to have this board on record just authorizing the town administrator to submit an application for the local fiscal recovery funds, known as LRF, from the state under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. So that's a motion I would like to have the board just officially vote to approve. It's really after the fact because we already did apply, but just in case they're asking for documentation that I had the authority to do that, I need to have it in the record.
So if we say no, you're screwed.
Well, I got to send the money back. So we have plenty of time. There's two major milestones. December 31st, 2024 is the deadline for the dates to be committed. So we don't have to spend them or anything, but we need to know exactly what we're going to do with all of our funds by December 31st, 2024. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, you do.
And by December 31st, 2026, 100% of the funds need to be expended. So
So you're looking for a motion for something we did. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Town administrator. Submit the application for local financial recovery funds, LRF, from the state under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Is that ARP?
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Lynch and a second by Mr. LaSalle's. Any further discussion? It's hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0.
Mrs. Jewett's head just exploded.
How are we gonna pay for that?
I mean, to think all the years that, it was scrimp and save
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything. Oh, here's 400,000, Just a question. Does everybody in town have access to broadband?
Most of us do down here, but that broadband thing is on the news too. Why it's in there is for the people up north.
I think it's up.
Their broadband is not very good up there.
No, but I'm saying in Litchfield.
Yeah, I can't answer that 100%, but I'm sure our Comcast representative can respond and tell
Right.
us what, if there's a percentage that doesn't have coverage. But I would like to think we're covered
I think we're
100%.
very good.
With respect to water, Troy, you and I had talked a little bit about for people in town that are have their well, but yet are testing for PFOA. I mean, would it be a valid use of this to put in a filter, a point of service filter for those folks?
I think it's ineligible. From what I heard today, another, when they talked water, sewer, broadband, when they were talking water and safe drinking water, there's specific language in there for PFAS contamination. So when they decided to appropriate these funds, there's a part of this bill that was definitely reaching out to the people that are struggling with PFAS contamination and
I
giving
mean,
safe
what
drinking water to them.
what a better use.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know how many people there are, but virtually every person in town that has a well at this point is, I mean, in the back of their mind, they have to be worried about PFOA.
When's it going to show up if it's
Yeah.
not already showing up?
That's right. So,
Yeah.
to me, we need to think about that. And
Well, I know one of my neighbors, they tested way above the limit, and they didn't want to wait for St. Gobain to do anything, so they put in a filtration system for their drinking water, and then they turned them down for reimbursement.
who did?
St. Gobain,
Well,
They're going to, if they're,
because they
they're
said
going to,
they
they're
did
going to
it
stick
before.
with their, with what
Radius.
DES has
But they
on the
expanded it.
line, and
They
that's
expanded the test area
Yeah.
because they tested my well,
right.
and I'm further south.
And I
did you get results?
Yeah, mine is, I have it, but it's very low. It's very minimal right now. You never know though.
Yeah, proximity doesn't necessarily mean anything,
right.
you know?
And I have a short well.
It seems to go in veins, that
Yep.
the PFOA seems to be like you could have a bad test and right next door the person didn't have anything. But
Depends what
further
vein.
out,
It depends what vein that their water comes from.
we need to, I
Yeah,
think
and
the municipal association can give us some assistance on this.
They can. And today we learned of another group that's actually been hired by the state to help communities navigate through these funds. So they're specifically hired to help us.
Oh, good.
So that's good. I didn't know about that. Today was the first day I
That's
learned
good,
about that. So,
That's going to help out this situation. Yeah.
and so I do think that, PFAS was mentioned. And I wonder that I think there's other pots of money
Mhm.
that the state's going to be managing on their level that can also help address PFAS drinking water contamination, and partnering up with, different pots of money. And that's what they were trying to communicate, that, sharing some of our money with this other money to get a project done. So,
I mean,
there's some stuff there, if it's carbon filters. or-
everybody in town that is not on city water could benefit by this, because to me, we're all in danger. Everybody is in danger. So if you're on a well, I mean, in a way, they're better off than having
Mhm.
city water,
Maybe
Some of them don't have even the option to get city water because they're not,
There's no water lines in the area.
there's no
This
lines
section.
in the area, yeah.
From Pinecrest south
It's a snow
to
drop.
the snowdrop. Yeah.
Mhm.
What?
And
There's
that's
no
also-
water, there's no municipal water
line
within that
going.
area.
Cummings and all that doesn't have water.
Yep.
Till you get back out to Pinecrest. So that whole area doesn't have it.
I wonder what they will pay for the hydrant rentals.
Hmm. Yeah, you think they put the lines in for free.
Yeah, but we still gotta pay for the rental for something we never use.
I know. But that's okay. It's for the better good.
The premium pay for essential workers payment,
So that was what we did that with CARES Act funding.
We did that last year.
So we gave some premium pay to our police, fire, and then eventually to all really town staff that
Yep.
stayed open. So,
Yep.
although I know,
but I don't,
still got to take care of you.
We can give Russ anything.
we're not,
No, you know,
we're not necessarily talking new money for this.
No.
Right?
The one-time thing.
Public health issues, that would be PFAS also.
I think it's
I can't think of anything else. Can you? I mean,
I think it gets in. Well, it could get into some of the childcare. I heard him talking about childcare facilities. Because talking about we were in pandemic, and a lot of times they had no place to bring the
They had to work.
child care support, and that's where broadband comes into play. Is that students were at home with no internet service, no access to broadband. So a lot of this funding is trying to address issues that came up in case pandemic or another type of issue like this comes up again.
well, I
There's some
think,
housing. They were talking like workforce housing and stuff like that. I use the word workforce housing, but some
how could this be applied to help the housing issue?
I think it's gonna. I don't know how it would in Litchfield, but maybe more in the bigger cities, the Manchesters and the Nashuas.
The only thing that I could think of in that is that there was no eviction process during this whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so maybe the tenants did not pay their rent because they couldn't work. One, two, or
That
something like-
funding's, we saw in the headlines that funding's coming in, in
Yep.
August. I think they're.
Okay, so that's something that's working on that. And then once the eviction part, the process could start, they started, cleaning house on those who, I'm going to say, use the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of that.
Now, one thing that we cannot do with this is reduce taxes, right?
That's correct.
So,
Hell of an idea.
yeah, I mean,
We can't, for some reason I don't know why they had it, but there was another thing that stood out to me is that the funds cannot be used to reduce or for any pension payments.
Okay. I did it right there.
well,
I don't
that's
know,
good.
but, I
That's
don't know why
good.
that was flagged, but
No, that's
Yes.
wise too.
I guess, some of the.
That wasn't
cities-
aimed at New Hampshire. That was
No, I know that was aimed at something that they were aware of in the past. So
But I really think we have an opportunity here to think outside the box and think of, okay, what could we do with this that would have a long-term impact on the town?
Yep.
A positive impact on the town.
The people.
and that's exactly what that was their conclusion. They wrap things up saying, now's the time to really start to sit down and start having a discussion about what would be the best way to spend these funds in your community that's going to have a long-term lasting effect.
Well, there's only two groups that I know who can do that. The budget committee, who knows the budgets.
Yeah.
And then we don't have the capital improvement plans, the CIP, or get those things together. Okay, you may have, in a case like this, you can possibly put a independent committee together of taxpayers
Mhm.
to look at this and say, what can we do and what can't we do? To come back with a proposal to us.
Right.
Okay, because it's a lot of work.
I mean, in the field of recreation, is that a possibility here?
There wasn't much mention about recreation.
I don't think so. That's
Because I'm thinking, and again, I'm just thinking out loud, but like the high school could really use a decent place for football. I mean, people really enjoy going to football games, and you can't go to a Campbell football game and enjoy it because you can't see anything, because everybody's standing around the outside. There's no bleachers or anything that would.
No bleachers? No?
I thought they put some in there.
I mean, there's a little set like a softball field, but there's nothing. I mean, they built a field house, okay,
Yeah.
which makes sense because now they can tape the games. But like if somebody like me, I would enjoy going to a football game, and to have a decent set of bleachers and lights so you could play an evening game.
I don't think they're supposed to have lights.
Well, that may be
Part of
true.
the
It might
original
not,
agreement, I think it was.
but I don't know whether it could be used for this or not. But a big set of bleachers is quite a bit of money.
I think that would have to come out of the school budget, though,
It's a,
because they're gonna be getting money too.
Yeah.
They would be probably receiving money as well.
Yeah, again, I'm just thinking outside the box. But I mean, at Dare Pond, I mean,
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's where I kind of wonder if you looked into the health issues a little bit further, could you tie Darapon into, health issues and not drinking water, but just water and
Recreational.
general,
well, to clean up the pond
to
itself.
clean the pond up. Yeah.
I don't know what it would take, but I mean, we have an opportunity here. I think we should think outside the box, reach out. I mean, the library or whoever else, and come up with
alternate or other forms of
Mhm.
improvements of certain things.
yeah.
That's basically what it is look at the big picture around here, whether it's football, the rec field, or Dare Pond, or whatever, or the SAU having a new place.
And we need to put some guidelines in place. I mean, I think that we should use this money as much as possible and cater to the local businesses, construction and so forth.
Mhm. We can start to talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we, let me go on the websites that were shared with me today and stuff and learn a little bit more. And then I think in our next meeting, we can talk about having some type of a committee that needs to be in charge of this,
If you
because
can share,
this is almost $1 million, and
if you can share those sites with us
Yeah.
too, so we can read them.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's a lot we can do with it. Yeah. And the food pantry could use help, and I
Yep.
mean,
Well,
It's just
I
so
think
much.
the food pantry there's another example right there of where you can partner with those nonprofit groups like that.
and they can help us.
And
with
so,
people.
Yep.
that's probably a real good use where they must have a lot of needs of building improvements, or,
Mhm.
I mean, that's where the committee needs to talk. Well,
Yep.
do they want to stay in that building? Do they go back into the old fire station and move upstairs and utilize that? I don't know,
Can't get up there.
but
Those stairs on the outside.
put a lift.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we'll talk about it. the
but
next meeting.
that's a real good, that's the kind of discussion you need to have. And that's what these funds are for.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we have the selectmen reports. Miss Queenan.
Hey. Planning Board, the next meeting will be tomorrow night, 7/27, at 7:00 PM at the Town Hall for
Help our friends.
Help Our Friends at 20 Birch Street and Barron's, and it's published on our website. Yeah, we need to help them. The next normal meeting will be Tuesday, August 3rd at 7 PM at the Town Hall, and both meeting agendas are on our town website. Winery at 288 Charles Bancroft Highway received conditional approval. As far as.
Which one is that?
I knew you were gonna.
Very nice.
She had to step down.
I had to step down. There's not 3 chairs there. All right, when I came up to present. All right, for NRPC, the next full commissioner meeting is Wednesday, September 15th, 7 PM, 30 Temple Street in Nashua. Meeting details are on their website. And just so people are aware, if you go to our town website, go to the planning board, then NRPC, you can follow links and you can get the next household hazardous waste schedule. Saturday, August 7th, 8 to 12 will be in Nashua, and Saturday, August 28th, 8 to 12 will be in Pelham. And the street address is on the website also. And that's it.
Are you gonna make blueberry wine? I have a ton of blueberries.
Do you?
Yeah,
Did you buy bushes?
bought
We are
8
doing
bushes,
fruit
yeah,
wines.
and they are all coming in.
We'll talk after.
Everybody seems to be having good luck with those.
I know. We didn't get any.
We even have some down in the old farm now.
Yep.
Go pick them.
Are there still blueberries at DeRocher's?
I think he's let the rest of them go.
He did.
Yeah.
The day of discolor is so bad.
Sad. But
You
anyways,
need to water them. So
Wonder how many he sold.
he sold better than half. Wow. It was a lot too.
I mean, I saw bushes going by.
I see them. I'm Milford working, right? They're going by
In Milford.
in the oval. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. I'd say they sold at least 1,500 of them.
Wow.
They had over 2,500, I think.
Okay.
Let's see, emergency management team, Chairman Weber is not here tonight, nor is he here for rec or for the school facilities improvement or the capital improvement. Budget committee, we don't meet for a couple more weeks in August. Mr. Lynch with the Conservation Commission.
Conservation met. I was there, and we already know what happened because we just had this discussion a little while ago. We haven't had a meeting since.
Very good. We have the Heritage Commission, Mr. LaSalle.
They have not met.
They haven't.
I do have something to report though for St. Gobain. I'm on the PFOA commission, state level,
Mhm.
and I don't know if the rest of you know about it, but St. Gobain has been polluting all this time.
Yep.
They have not stopped polluting. So they had a commitment to have the scrubber or whatever is on the stack
Mhm.
up and running this month. And they're, I think as we speak, it is up and running. So hopefully they're going to be going through a series of tests to make sure it's working properly. But, and I have another meeting on August 20th, but as of now, they should be, they're not polluting anymore.
That's good news.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they were doing it this whole time, but
The state was involved with that, and they didn't put their foot down. They had some extensions and all this going on. State was working with them.
They're lucky they got, during the COVID. I mean, thank God they were able to keep whatever factory was going to build the equipment they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if they
No,
were
you
set back 2 years of production or something, you know, and
The little computer chip, we can't get them and build cars now.
right. Do we have any other business anybody would like to discuss?
Hearing
there's
none.
no non-public that got pulled off. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So our next meeting will be August
Whatever.
9th?
2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Okay,
We're back to 2 weeks?
2 weeks from tonight.
The September, what did I say? The 8th when we're doing the
Be
budget?
No, it'll be August
I mean,
Is there any,
August the 9th.
the 9th. I
is
got
there
it
any
right.
way that we can put a calendar on the wall in here?
I got one right
Good.
here.
So
Leave your computer nailed to the wall then.
our next meeting will be August 9th, and hopefully Chairman Weber will be back.
I hope so too.
Other than that, everybody have a great night. Be safe, be well, and we will see you soon.
Good job tonight, Bob. Good job.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lynch, second by Ms. Queenan. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Question, aye.
Motion passes 4-0-0. Have a great night, folks.